Mom nightmare. This story out of Michigan, it's bizarre, it's strange, but it's also gruesome and tragic all at once. We're going to go through it during this program. It involves a woman named Rebecca Park. She is the victim. We'll tell you her story, what happened, and try to figure out why this all happened, because it's as confusing as anything. Welcome to the Tangent Podcast. I'm Vinnie Politan, lead anchor for Court TV, your front row seat to justice. With me, Al Wunsch III.
Hola, Tangenistas.
And the legendary Jonesy.
Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Yes, and what you're about to experience, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call in the business, what do we call this? This is a live stream, but it's also a podcast. We take true crime and turn it into a good old time. This is the Tangent Podcast.
Vinnie and the Tangent, true crime podcast. Vinnie has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinnie and the Tangent, true crime podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all have a blast. Vinnie, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinnie and the Tangent, true crime podcast.
All right, you might be confused. It's Wednesday, but we're here on a Wednesday because we can't be here on a Friday. So we wanted to get this in as we get closer and closer to the big Tangent Christmas extravaganza coming up on the 21st. More details about that coming up in a little bit, opportunities for prizes, etc. But I want to get right to the story. And I think what I have to do, fellas, is it's kind of set the table here a little bit with the people involved in this case.
Yes.
Because it's that type of case. So let's take a look here. I have a little picture. I'll make it bigger. Let's make it bigger so everybody can see it. Okay, so on this picture, you will see 5 people. You see on the top row, a woman named Courtney. And then all the way screen right is Bradley. Bradley and Courtney are married. They are husband and wife. Okay. Courtney, now this is really the story of Rebecca. If you look on the bottom left side there, you see Rebecca next to Jonesy and Al. She was adopted when she was a baby, as was her sister Kim, who you also see on the screen here. Kim and Rebecca were adopted. They were raised by really good people from the time that they were 1. So they were born and raised by someone else. At age 18, Rebecca became very curious, as many adopted children do, and wanted to find her and connect with her biological mom.
What a mistake.
That biological mom is Courtney. Her adoptive parents tried to prevent it because the adoptive parents knew that Courtney and her crew were bad news, but you can't stop someone. They're 18 years old. They're an adult. They can make their own decisions. So Rebecca decided to connect with her biological mother, Courtney, and she did so over the course of 4 years. And then something happened at age 22. But we'll get to that in a second. So you see, I have Courtney, Rebecca, Kim, and this man named Richard separated from Bradley. That's because Rebecca was engaged to Richard. Rebecca was carrying Richard's baby. Rebecca's sister, Kim, was also sleeping with Richard. Rebecca's biological mother, Courtney, was also sleeping with Richard. And Rebecca, as I mentioned, 38 weeks pregnant, so very close to giving birth. What happens is she goes missing. It's a big story in northern Michigan. Where is this missing pregnant woman? And there were, a lot of talk, a lot of chatter. In the end, she was found in the woods, stabbed, carved, the baby gone. Who would do that? Why would anyone do that? Well, they started rounding up people, and ultimately, all the people to the right side of Rebecca on the screen have been arrested. Let me put this up on the screen here. Rebecca, 22, her sister, Kimberly, 21, her biological mother, 40, all romantically involved with the same man who was also the father of Rebecca's unborn child. Kimberly and Courtney, that's mom and sis, told investigators that they were in a relationship with Richard, according to the probable cause affidavits. Those three individuals, along with Courtney's husband, Bradley, have all been arrested and charged with felony offenses over the past 2 weeks. So they've all been arrested for something. But who's been arrested for what happened to Rebecca? That now has come. Richard has not been arrested for anything having to do with Rebecca. Richard's charged for involving the sale of meth. I think it's drug charges. Courtney and Bradley directly charged with the death of Rebecca and the baby. Kim charged with lying to police, that sort of stuff during the course of the investigation. But she's not directly charged. So this poor woman who sought out her biological mother, according to prosecutors, met her death as a result of the actions of her biological mother. So that's sort of setting the table here for basically, does that all make sense, Jonesy?
It makes sense, but it's a messy table.
Right. It's messy, but you can follow what happened here with all these people. Okay. So to me, the question is like, why? Why would a biological mother carve their grandchild out of their daughter's stomach? Like that is beyond. I'm trying to understand it. And I think it has to do with this whole love. It's not really a triangle. It's sort of a triangle. I set it up as sort of a pyramid triangle, although it's more of a square than a triangle.
It's a square.
Yeah. Usually a love triangle has 3 people involved. This one has 4. And Bradley's left out. And I think Bradley was angry about the whole thing. And I think Bradley was acting out against Richard, but went after his wife. That's what I think.
Is just a horrendous situation. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. To see what happened to this poor woman and her child is just despicable. And what is the basis for it? I don't even know if you could find. I don't think there's any rational explanation for this.
There isn't. They did these interviews. Bradley and Courtney both spoke. And in the documents, you read it, the stories change a little bit. It doesn't make sense. Courtney's saying something a little bit differently than Bradley. But here's a little piece of it. I'll try to make it a little larger so we can see it. She reported that Bradley took the truck west and was gone for 20 minutes. Bradley came back, and she asked him if he had hurt her daughter, and he told her, no, I didn't hurt her. Courtney said that was the same day that Rebecca's body was found. Courtney said that on Wednesday, she confronted Bradley and asked him about what he did. She reported he told her, I'm going to tell you once, and I'm going to tell you, and you're going to bleep and drop it, and you're going to bleep the bleep up. He's like, I'm the reason your bleeping daughter's not here. That's your life is upside down right now. And he goes, Rich bleeped with the wrong bleeper. She agrees this is all a revenge plot. Courtney said that when she asked him what he did to her daughter, Bradley said, I slit her bleeping throat. Bleep deserved it. She goes on to say that he deserved it too, and it just happened to be your daughter that's going to pay for it. So this is coming from Courtney, right? So this is Courtney describing But that's not exactly what happened. Like
Right.
in this version, she is saying that Bradley alone took her and did this to her. And under this scenario, it's revenge because of this love triangle.
Right. But
But there's also the fact that they researched C-sections.
yes.
So what is that about? Like that's not necessarily connected. This is like just vengeful, right? You're researching C-sections. You want to take the baby. Like to me, then the motivation becomes trying or attempting to get the baby. But like, why not just wait a couple more weeks?
Yeah.
The baby's born.
And what are they going to do with the baby? And how are they going to explain the baby when the mother's missing? I mean, unless they had some sort of a plan that they were selling the child, and maybe they had someone that was, willing to take a brand new baby, kind of no questions asked. That's the only thing I can think of, because you can't, I mean, nowadays it would be so easy to be able to establish that this was the child of the missing woman, and then
Right.
subsequently found, dead woman. Okay. And where are they going to walk around with, well, we just found this child. It doesn't make sense unless they had a plot, because it seemed to me that, one of the things that had been brought up on this was the fact that Rebecca had gotten like $2,000 in cash or something from some sort of an inheritance or something along those lines.
Right.
And so that, they thought that was the motive, that maybe she was, killed or she was abducted because of the $2,000. I would imagine being able to sell a, white baby to somebody who's desperate for a child could probably fetch more than $2,000. And maybe that's what the whole plan was. Plan was, okay, we're going to off her because of the fact that, there's a whatever, not a triangle like we said, but it's a square. And I'm going to call it a rectangle with WRECK.
Right.
Rec. And we can get the child, get it to this family, no questions asked, and then we make some money on the deal. That's the only thing I can think of. It makes no other sense. Keeping that child
But
makes no sense.
I think there's another part to it, which is Courtney, and there's this weird, because her children were taken away, right? Like Rebecca and Kim, she didn't get to raise her own children.
Were they taken away or were they given up?
No, they were taken away.
Right.
That's my understanding is they were taken away.
Well, clearly they wanted to preserve this fine bloodline.
Yeah. And then Rebecca was also concerned about CPS when she had her baby. There's a lot of strange things going on here. Let me show this, because the other part of this story, which really struck me, was the reaction of the community. And I mean, when Rebecca was missing, this community totally committed to finding her. And there's a lot of anger right now in the community as they found out what's going on. And they all showed up to court. I mean, I'm going to show you some clips. This is from 9 and 10 News in Cadillac, Michigan. We've had Jody Meeson on, amazing reporter who's been covering this. But let me play this for you.
It is alleged in count number 1 that you committed the offense of homicide, murder in the first degree, premeditated. That is a felony punishable by up to life in prison without parole, and DNA to be taken upon arrest.
That was the first of more than a half-dozen charges Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew now face. The other charges include torture, conspiracy to commit torture, assault on a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, conspiracy to commit that assault, unlawful imprisonment, and removing a body without medical examiner permission, with Bradley charged as a repeat offender.
I think no bond or being held without bond is appropriate. Again, this is a case of premeditated torture and murder. These two individuals created a plan, conducted research Miss Bartholomew brought Rebecca to their home, they forced her into another vehicle and took her into the woods where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out and ultimately caused her death and the death of the baby. They then left Rebecca in the woods.
That moment, that's the first time that's being revealed publicly inside the courtroom. And you could see all the folks in the gallery. At that moment, they're like, oh my goodness, this is worse than we ever could have thought it was. But I think it's the premeditation, you know, and the research to me is it's about the baby. It's about, it could be revenge mixed in there, but it's about the baby. And if you're researching C-section, you think you can extract this child alive, right? It's got to be. And then obviously things are not going to go correctly when you're out in the woods, you know, holding someone against their will with a knife up against their throat.
Well, also you don't have the procedures necessary to sustain life under those circumstances. You know, you're not in a sterile area. You're not in an area where there is going to be something that can be done with regards to the umbilical cord and with regards to making sure that the child is got a clear airway. There's no oxygen. There's no, heat. There's nothing there except, this is November in Michigan.
Yeah, northern Michigan.
Yeah. Right. It's cold. So, I mean, they're reading this. I'm sure it probably said in any instruction on that, don't do this in the woods in the cold.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure that's probably the first thing it says on there with regards to C-sections. DY, do your own DYO C-section probably says, don't do it in the woods in the cold weather. Doesn't work out well. And it didn't.
And the courtroom packed, and this is like a smaller community in this part of Michigan, and small courtroom. I'm sure they've never had a case quite like this.
No, notwithstanding these horrendous 4 people that are involved in this scenario, the interviews I saw of the residents in the town demonstrated that there was genuine concern, and that this seemed like a very nice, close-knit, and in even hearing from the adopted mother and things along those lines, this was a very, very rural but nice community that I'm sure could not even imagine that this case turned out the way it did.
Yeah, to me, I don't get it. I just don't get it. But that's why the adoptive mom wanted her to stay away from this family, stay away from these people. Now, again, we go back here. Richard has been bonded out. The sisters bonded out. But again, Richard not charged with what happened to Rebecca.
Right.
Kim charged with interfering with the investigation, but it's Courtney and Bradley are the two. I'm wondering, did Courtney want to raise a child? She didn't get to raise Rebecca, so she was going to raise this baby. Like, I don't know. Could that be some sort of demented, warped sense of what was going on in her mind?
There's no way you can conceal that. I mean, that's why it didn't make sense to me.
I don't think Rebecca was very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Methodical?
I think she kind of kept under the radar a little bit. And again, she had concerns about having the baby and CPS getting involved.
Okay, so and CPS, for those of you who don't know, is Child Protective Services. Just
right. She didn't want to lose. She didn't want her baby taken away.
Yeah, but the problem is this: the mother's missing. Okay, and then the baby shows up. I mean, how I can't imagine now. I mean, granted, I don't think that those 4 with an IQ would add up to more than like 9. Okay, right. But I can't imagine they'd say, "Well, we'd be able to conceal this." And just say that this baby just showed up. The stork dropped it down the chimney, and we decided to take care of it.
Yeah,
there was nothing done to try to show that Rebecca had left the area, had run away, had sent a note. She told us she was getting out of here because she was afraid of it. So there was nothing there. The only thing that makes sense to me is selling the child.
Yeah. Now,
I don't think anything. I think looking for sense in this, it's natural on our part, but you're not going to find any sense in this. I mean, the methamphetamine is probably a huge part of the fact where there is no rhyme or reason. I mean, was there a plan? I mean, at all? Like, or was this just like some like drugged out nightmare?
Well,
and I'll tell you one of the things that's happening though is like during the course where Rebecca is missing, like Courtney is speaking to reporters, Kim is speaking with like there's like this whole sense of, oh my goodness, she's missing. Like this whole ruse.
I saw an interview with the fiance talking about, we're always together, and I've been having nightmares, and I mean, like talking across the board about how horrendous his life is now. That the love of his life is not there, and I mean, he didn't look sincere, I'll tell you that. But anyway, he was talking about the fact that as a result of this, that he was having trouble breathing, he was having trouble sleeping at night, he was having trouble with all these things because he just wanted her back and my baby and the whole 9 yards. So I mean, they played it off pretty well. And with
but again, Richard's not implicated in the abduction or Red Rum.
But he's actually looking at substantial time for the drug case.
For the drugs, but to me, it's a different case. I think initially, they wrapped up Richard and Kim as quickly as possible because they're putting pressure on people, and they weren't exactly sure exactly who was involved. Now, this is another part of the interview. Courtney said, and a lot of people are asking about the grandson. Courtney said, when asked about her grandson, which is the baby that was cut out, she said, Bradley said, "Oh, I stuck him in a cooler, stuck him in a trash bag, threw him in the trash." Then the detective asked Courtney if Bradley is paying Rich back. Why cut the baby out? And she said, because if he would have left the baby in there and had somebody found her before, he would have survived, he would have thought. Courtney was asked, why not just cut the baby out, kill it? Why take it? And she said that he told her the baby wasn't breathing when he pulled him out. Again, she was asked why'd he take it? Now she answers it was because he didn't want Rich to see they were together. She admitted she didn't know what that meant, right? Like they don't even understand each other. No. Or she doesn't even understand the story she's making up about it, right? When asked about where the baby is now, Courtney said that he put him in a blue cooler in a trash bag and into a GFL container. She confirmed that she is talking about a residential GFL trash receptacle. Courtney said she was never at the location where the body was found because he wouldn't let her. She doesn't know how many times he went to the location. And that's all a lie.
Right.
That part is an absolute lie, I can tell you, for sure. So let me see if I think I've got one more piece of this, because the interviews are all over the place. It's like 18 pages. And if you try to read it like a story, it obviously will make zero sense, but you have to try to pull out of it what you can that may in fact be corroborated by some of the evidence at some point, because they're spewing so much stuff. They've got to like ferret through it and find those strands of truth in the case. So let's see what I have next. This one. Bradley begins to tell us, I'm sure Courtney stabbed her because she didn't have a hunting knife. He identified that the knife went into the trash at Cadillac Shores. He reports that Courtney is the one who cut the baby out. He confirmed that he witnessed this, and it had taken place right where she's laying out on the trails behind the house. He confirms that is the reason he told an officer to check the trails behind the house. Bradley confirmed that a scalpel from the bedroom was used. When asked if the baby was alive when he was cut out, he responded no. He confirmed it was just the two of them that were present. But he then points the finger at Courtney for stabbing Rebecca. And I think that's like, he's not admitting doing anything himself. But they're both there, like,
Right.
but they may get separate trials, right? If their statements implicate each other, that's when you have a Bruton problem, right? That's when you have to have a separate trial for Bradley and for Courtney, right?
Yes.
Because if you want to use statements made by Courtney that implicate her and Bradley can't be on, that jury can't hear that. They can only hear statements by Bradley implicating Bradley, because otherwise it's hearsay.
Correct. That would be a huge problem with regards to evidence. But look, I don't think these guys are going to trial. Okay. I mean, the fact that there is.
Wait. Why not? Why would they not point the finger at one another?
They certainly could do that, but both of them are there. So, I mean, it'd be very, very difficult for them to get away from something. I mean, if it turned out that it's like, listen, I was nowhere there, I was in such and such, and he comes up with some sort of alibi, then, you know, and maybe she mentioned it to me, but I thought she was kidding. But they're there. So the conspiracy aspect is there.
Yeah.
Okay, that they're going to get them on that regardless. So the question is, they could go away just as long on the conspiracy on a first.
I wouldn't get. I mean, I don't think they're getting a deal. Here's the thing, right?
I don't think they're getting a deal either. But what I'm saying is that at the best case scenario, that's what they're going to. One or the other would be convicted of, at least as to that. I don't see anyone going scot-free on this.
No, but I don't think they're going to be offered deals that would be anything less than spending the rest of their lives in prison. They can't give them any sort of a deal. We're talking about a baby and the mom, and this is like the most, in the way it's described by the prosecutor, it's the most gruesome, brutal case they've ever handled in that office. So there's going to be no deal. And what I say is, when there's no deal, there's a trial. And here I think there's going to be two trials. And I think that that's a slight advantage for the defense. It's better for them when the trials are separated, because now you're pointing the finger at someone who's not there in that moment, so you don't get lumped together by sitting at the same table, right? Like co-defendants do sometimes. So they have a slight advantage there. But I think we're going to have two trials here, because why should these prosecutors give them anything unless, and I have to check, I don't even know if Michigan's a death penalty state.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. I have to double check. I can't remember doing a death penalty in Michigan, because that's the only bargaining chip you could potentially throw out there. Even though I don't like that as a bargaining chip, that seems to be the only opportunity here.
Yeah. Look, if there is
no death penalty, they abolished it.
Yeah, I had thought that if they get separate trials, it's not going to matter. They're both going to be convicted regardless. And I mean, what's she going to take the stand, or he's going to take the stand and say, listen, I was just there and I was scared myself, and that he threatened me or she threatened me, or whatever the situation is.
Oh, for sure.
What's going to be interesting to see where the fiancé comes in this. And if he somehow gets implicated. Now, I know right now that's not.
How's he getting implicated? He wasn't there.
What happens if he knew that they were plotting to do that this guy was planning to do something along those lines, and he did
I don't
nothing?
think he wanted his baby.
Well, we don't know, but here's the bottom line. Okay, why didn't he say at the beginning, listen, I was having an affair with her mother, okay, her birth mother. There may be something there along those lines. And now granted, they never would have gotten the Rebecca would have never been alive, because at that point, no, but she was red rummed, I believe, on the 3rd of November. And they don't find her until the end of November. But the bottom line is that if he had said something when she first went missing, something might have happened better
Yeah.
in this case. And that did not happen. He's got to live with that on his mind. I mean, you know, he sat there being Mr. Pious and Mr. Upset and the whole 9 yards. But the bottom line is that the guy did not stand up and say, there might be vengeance in this case, because, you know, Bradley and I are sharing the same woman. So he didn't do that.
All right, folks. Big question by Wendy B. Will there be another holiday special this year?
What? What? How could she ask that question?
All right, I gotta uncover.
Oh, we are doing one. Oh, all right. Okay.
Yes,
Now I'm right.
Sunday, December 21st, 7 to 10 p.m. Unbelievable. Rehearsals are going amazingly for the opening number. I think we've just about got it down. So that's amazing. There'll be prizes, trivia, and we've got a whole slate of special guest stars. And I'm not going to announce who the stars are. You've got to tune in to find out. But trust me, you're going to love them all. You're going to love them all. So guest stars, and I mean like special guest stars, trivia, prizes, and competitions.
As I said, we're still working on if you win, you get to choose one of us to live with you for a week. I'm still working out the logistics of that and whether or not it's legal.
Is it legal? And one thing that you can do, folks, is enter the ugly sweater competition.
Send a photo of your sweater to the moths, old or new. The winner gets a prize during Tangent Christmas Extravaganza 25. Old or new, send it to the moths. Send it to the moths. Tangent Ugly Sweater Contest. Tangent Ugly Sweater Contest. Send it to the moths.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, send your ugly sweater pictures to vinniesmods@gmail.com. Just send a picture. You enter the contest. You have an opportunity to win major prizes here. We're talking about major prizes.
How do you bridge from this story that we're covering to the holiday special? I mean, that's worse than Casey Kasem going from the, going into the dedication for the dead dog.
We're just answering a question. A viewer had a question, Jonesy, and that was a natural.
This is clearly the feel good story of the holiday season.
No, it's not a feel good story, but it's one of the most confusing to me, and I think Jonesy hit the nail on the head because of the meth aspect to this.
Well, to further
the thinking,
to further that point, I see this whole act as being insane. And one thing that strikes me when I see stories like this is when one person goes insane, when one person does something crazy, you don't accept it, but you can kind of understand the person went crazy. When two people do something like this together, when two people go crazy, that to me is beyond comprehension. One person thinks this is like, this is what I want to do. Hey, and another person's like, yeah, okay, let's do it, baby.
So for everyone wondering, Bradley is Courtney's husband and he's angry. Look at that picture. That's one of the angriest mugshots I've ever seen. But Bradley grew up, he was poor. He was so poor, his family couldn't afford an E in his name. So he's Bradley with just an L-Y, but Bradley, he
was so poor that when he was seen walking along with one shoe and somebody said, "Oh, you lost a shoe?" He said, "No, I found one."
He get it out. He had no shoes and he only found one. It's not like he lost one. He found one. So he's in a good. So by the way, we're going to reinstitute the Crime Con wheel for the prizes. Yes, I set it all up. I put it back together. it's good to go. So that's good. Now, the other part of this story that really struck me, because I go online all the time, and in my algorithm, I'm in the algorithm, and every once in a while I get caught in it, and I'll watch like a series of like 10 videos in a row of these unbelievably heartwarming biological reunions where children who've been adopted reunite or get together with members of their biological family. And these are warm moments, and then they learn the difficult circumstances that the birth parents were going under, or the birth mom. And they may meet a cousin, they may meet their actual birth mom, they meet new siblings that they didn't know. Sometimes siblings who were adopted separately or reunited, and all these stories. It's like I can only watch it while I'm cutting onions because I need a cover story. I need a cover story. And I'm like, no. My son comes in. No. I'm cutting these onions. Has nothing to do with the video. Like, these things are amazing. And then I think about Rebecca, who's raised and at age 18, has that yearning that I presume a lot of adopted children may have, or curiosity, whatever it is. But it seems like it's pretty common. And I want to connect. I want to meet my birth mom, and I want to have a relationship, and I want to figure out where I came from. And, her adoptive mom knew the problems and tried to stop her, but you can't. And to me, this is so tragic that she gets into this world of her biological mother, and there's this downward spiral for 4 years that results in her in the woods with her baby removed from her stomach.
Well,
Unbelievable.
It's ironic because you look at it from the standpoint that Courtney brought her into this world, and she then took her out of this world.
Yeah, it's brutal. All right. I don't want to be too much of a downer this time of year, but I wanted to talk about this story because a lot of people are talking about it, and we finally learned some more of the details. And obviously it's a case and a trial we'll be tracking on Court TV, and one that we'll be covering. And I think Al's right. There could be more to this story involving the sister Kim, potentially Richard. I think more Kim than Richard, but that whole situation is really murky. At a minimum, there are going to be witnesses in the case, and I think these will be trials. So I wanted to kind of put that on everyone's plate. But I do understand the gravity of it all, but it is what it is. Like, there's no way around it. No. By the way, here we go. 1 second. What?
You spoke of the algorithms, and given your career and the type of things that you must research, I am kind of surprised that you get any like positive, like feel good stories in your algorithms, because you're constantly covering the worst of the worst, because that's what it's all about.
I start every day. I Google a red rum.
There you go. See,
that's my first Google every day. And I do it because, I want to see what's on the top of the news filter. I want to make sure that, because I've got to take a look at what's happening in the world.
Haven't you gotten curious why the only thing that ever comes up is the movie The Shining?
Yeah. Indeed. So here we go. It's time for a little McSpunky.
To get happy, it's time to get funky. It's time for us to smile, because here comes McSpunky.
Fashionably late, but here in spirit, McSpunky, welcome and season's greetings to McSpunky and to all. By the way, a lot of folks always wonder, McSpunky, he's got his own song? How does McSpunky have his own song? Well, you too can have your own song. It'll be one of the prizes at the Tangent Christmas Extravaganza 25.
Now, Ben, let me ask this. Can the song be by you two?
By what?
By you, like, could you two be the ones that do the song of these people for us?
Oh, can you two can have a song? No, it will not be by Bono. No.
Just threw that out there. Bono Vox, as we say in Latin.
Valerie Jean Schaefer, I want a song. We all want a song, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, are you guys prepared for this extravaganza marathon? Now, I put together a rundown. It looks like the show will be 3 hours, but no promises. We could go 4.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, look, last year I think we went 63 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Last year's show.
It went late. I think we finished around midnight. We started around 8. We're starting a little earlier this year. As we're getting older, we're going to start earlier. In another couple of years, we'll have the early bird special Christmas. But the Christmas early bird special at like 5.
And then we also did New Year's last year also, right?
Yes.
We did New Year's Eve show with the countdown and the whole 9 yards. So that worked. And by the way, I've used that expression now 14 times in today's show, 9 yards. I'll stay away from that.
That's a standard of yours, and I think it's a cool one.
Well, thank
All
you.
right. Perplexed Mind Zero. Who is Sunglasses Man?
Oh,
That's the question I ask myself all the time. Who am I?
Well, it will give the quick backstory. Jonesy is a radio legend, and he when I joined Court TV, he was running the radio program over there, and that's how we met. And then we literally did the radio program for Court TV on Sirius for a bunch of years, and Al was one of our regulars who would come in. So this is sort of like us reuniting after all these years.
That is true. That is true.
So that's who Sunglasses Man is. I hope that answers the question.
And if you're wondering why I wear sunglasses, I have a condition.
So, yeah, that's good. So for all you people that say the nasty things about it, the man's got a condition. Gosh darn it.
Well, it really is true. I mean, I don't need to wear sunglasses, but I have a side effect of thyroid causing a bulging eye, and I just feel more comfortable hiding behind the glasses. If the eyes are the windows of the soul, what right do you have to look at my soul?
So these are your blinds.
Yes. Like if I was a horse, I'd have blinders on.
And Gen X, instead of happy hour, it'll be tangent hour. Indeed. And by the way, of course, Gen X, part of our legendary Mod Squad.
The Mod Squad, keeping order in the chat. The Mod Squad, spotting trolls who attack. Oh, Gen X is ready and on the scene. Frankie Figs making sure they're keeping it clean. Jennifer Soubey telling haters don't be so mean. And Ashley Bouchard on top of our Facebook screen. We are the Mod Squad, cleaning up the mess. The Mod Squad, simply the best. The Mod Squad.
So Vin, are you saying that historically we could end up going more than 3 hours?
Yes, I do believe that is the case.
War to civil rights and all the revolution fights. World War I and World War II. Al always knows who is who. It's this day in history. This day in history. History. Now let's listen to his story.
All right, folks. So today is December 10th. Let's start with the Rev War history. Okay. On this day in 1776, the Continental Army reorganized, which was extremely important, and the Maryland 400 had re-enlisted. Now, this sets the stage for what will happen later in the month at the Battle of Trenton. But this reorganization was absolutely instrumental in the Continental Army getting ready to be able to face the Hessians and the British at Trenton and then later at Princeton. And it's basically what saved us, because everyone's enlistments were getting up and people were getting a little upset because we weren't doing too well militarily at this point. And this was the turning point of the Army on this reorganization. We'll go now to true
Did
crime.
they get new uniforms?
Well, actually, what ended up happening was the Continental Congress was able to start getting some uniforms so that they could be uniformed, in their outfits, because they weren't up to this point. They didn't get all of them in, but they started being. They got money, and they were able to start getting, more uniformity with regards to that, which also led to discipline, which gets back at once we're at Valley Forge, then that is when we get that true total esprit de corps that brings us to the, basically victory towards the end of the war.
That was always my favorite day, when they'd hand out the uniforms, like, what number am I going to get? I
Yes.
love uniform day.
Well, they had no numbers back in those days, Vin, for some reason, but nonetheless, they did have uniforms that were blue to differentiate them from the British. And of course, the interesting thing was that, we had mastered what would have been the type of tactics that we would have blended in with the wilderness and everything else. And here are the British wearing those beautifully bright red uniforms and walking through the woods. Okay.
Not the smartest.
Not the smartest thing in the world, but they were used to fighting in Europe, where it was not, basically jungle warfare, which was going on in the U.S. at that time. December 10th in true crime, 1927, the birth of Harvey Murray Glatman, better known as the Lonely Hearts Killer. This individual, this piece of garbage, was responsible for at least 4. He was convicted of 2 red rums. But this is a guy that had exhibited antisocial and sadomasochistic behavior as a small child. And then finally, his mother said, let's take him to the doctor at the age of 12. And the doctor said, oh, don't worry, he'll grow out of it. Well, he didn't. What he did was he pretended to be a photographer. He met pretty women around the streets of Los Angeles, invited them to his apartment. He then essayed them, photographed everything that he was doing, and then discarded the bodies in the desert. He was, when he was arrested, he confessed to the 3 red rums, not the 4th, and was depenned at San Quentin by gas chamber in 1959.
Wow.
On this day in history, in 1901, the first Nobel Prize was awarded. So every year around this time, December 10th, you will see that there are Nobel Prizes. The first U.S. person, first American to get it was Teddy Roosevelt in 1906, where he got the Nobel Peace Prize. But on this day, Obama got his Nobel Peace Prize. Bob Dylan got his Nobel Prize for literature, and Martin Luther King got his for peace.
Wow.
1936, King Edward VIII of England abdicates his throne to marry American divorcee Wallis Simpson. Huge story, huge scandal. I mean, the man gave up the throne of England in order to marry a divorcee that he was in love with by the name of Wallis Simpson.
Ooh, a divorcee.
A divorcee, and an American, which was a no-no if you want to be the King of England. You can't have an
marriage.
American bride. Right.
As Potsy says to Richie in an early episode of Happy Days, you know what they say about divorcees? Hot to trot.
Well, get a look at this woman. You'd be trotting the other way in most instances. We still can't to this day figure out what happened, but he found love, God bless him, and he gave up the throne.
Wow.
For her. 1948, the UN General Assembly adopts the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. 1962, one of the most incredible films you'll ever get to see, Lawrence of Arabia, premieres. It's based on the life of T.E. Lawrence, who was a soldier during World War I. I will tell you that I watched that movie and it blows my mind. The desert scenes, the desert fight scenes are incredible. And what is even more incredible is that you don't see any footprints in the sand, okay, prior to the fight scenes. And you know they had to rehearse them and things along those lines. Everything is a pristine desert. Kudos to the filmmaker on that. Unbelievable.
Oh, kudos to the guys who had to go rake the sand.
Well, yeah, but the director is the one that's putting it on there. In 1963, okay, 6-year-old and former neighbor of mine, Donny Osmond, sang his debut on the Andy Williams Show.
In 63, really?
1963. That was his singing debut on national television.
Must have been a child at that point.
Yeah, he was. He just turned 70. I saw. He's in my algorithm right next to the all the dead people.
And he lived around the corner from him when he was on Broadway during Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And this story, okay, now I don't know if you've been watching Vinnie on X or something on like, and he's been showing these wonderful wrestling pictures of him in his youth. And the last story of the day for December 10th in history goes to 1973 when Bruno Sammartino takes the WWF title championship for the second time, defeating Stan the Man Stasiak.
Stan the Man.
Who's famous for the heart punch and was the heel that I believe Vinny was impersonating in one of his wrestling pictures, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. One of the wrestling pictures, I did a Stan the Man Stasiak.
And so that happened 1973. Now, Stan the Man Stasiak, okay, was a heel. Now, there's baby faces and heels in wrestling. And so what ended up happening was that the champion at the time was a baby face.
It was Bruno.
No, Bruno was not the champion.
Bruno. Okay, there was a champion that bridged the gap. But go ahead.
Right. So what ended up happening? I think it was Pedro
Morales.
Pedro Morales. They didn't want Pedro Morales to fight Bruno Sammartino because they were two baby faces, and they didn't want to make either one of them into heels. So what they did was they had Stan the Man Stasiak on December 1st defeat Pedro Morales for the WWF, because that time it was called the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and that changed after 1973. But they had him defeat, okay, Stan the Man defeats Pedro Morales, and then set that up 9 days later on December 10th at Madison Square Garden, and Bruno Sammartino beats Stan the Man Stasiak.
Yeah,
Stan the Man Stasiak said,
Stan the Man Stasiak.
there you go. Stan the Man Stasiak said it was the best 9 days of his life, and then he lost the championship after that.
May I add an anecdote or two about that?
Of course.
Okay, so Stan the Man Stasiak, when he was being given the rundown for the match coming up against Pedro Morales, was eating a sandwich, and he expected that Pedro was going to win, and when they told him he was going to win, he was like just stunned. He was shocked. He didn't know till the night of the match. I saw Bruno defend the championship at the Garden every month for like 4 or 5 years. I went down to Baltimore with my first radio show with some members of the audience. We got wind of the fact that superstar Billy Graham was going to beat Bruno on April 10th, April 30th, 1977. So we all took a bus trip down there. I was just a kid. And we financed it by selling bootleg wrestling posters outside of the arena. And I saw Bruno lose that title many, many, many years later.
Wow. And there's me on the shag carpet.
Look at that. Look. So they're getting ready for the heart punch. Stan the Man Stasiak was known for the heart punch.
Yes.
And there was a thing where he would hit you right in the chest, and your heart would stop. And then you would go down.
He would have to revive you in order for you to survive.
That's right.
Right.
And his manager was the Grand Wizard.
Yes.
One of the best.
And do you have any more history?
No, that's it. That's
Well,
I did it
on this day in history, in 2025, Pete Alonso signed a 5-year contract with the Baltimore Orioles.
Get the hell out.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Wow, I don't think people realize what they're watching right now. They're watching three hardcore New York Mets fans learning for the first time that Alonso has left. Who did he sign with?
Oh,
The Baltimore
Baltimore.
Orioles.
The Orioles.
5 years, 155.
Wow.
oh my God, that is just. You know what? It's bad enough. Okay, Diaz leaving and then giving that BS
All right.
excuse that
I just
that
wanted to-
I didn't know they were going to sign the other pitcher, so they took me by surprise. So that's why I went to the Los Angeles.
You know, the Orioles, I actually like the Orioles, and I root for teams that aren't doing well, and they're not doing well because I feel badly for their fans and stuff. Yet I cannot root for a man who has turned his back on my team.
Exactly.
Ever.
Merry Christmas, mods from Gringa L. You are simply the best. They are the best.
Nice.
And by the way,
Yeah.
I got the news about Pete from Ashley Bouchard, who is monitoring the wires for us today.
Who does that? Does Ashley root for?
I
a
mean,
team?
this is like between the story we covered and now
It's
this,
tragic.
and obviously completely different worlds. I get it. One's a true tragedy. The other is just, fandom, but it's not going to raise our spirits at all.
Yes, but baseball is what distracts us from all of the horrors in the
Right.
world for 2.5 hours a night, every night for like 8 months.
So what
That's
happens?
America's pastime.
Yeah. What happens though when the distraction from the horror in the world becomes your horror? Right? Like that's what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's bad. Anyhow.
That's like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. So let's get
As Johnny Rotten said about Sid Vicious when he died, good riddance to bad rubbish. And that's for Pete Alonso.
So let's get some let's get some positive vibes going here.
Well, that picture's pretty positive.
Yeah, like that's a good one. And by the way, at the Christmas party extravaganza, we're going to crown the Tangenista of the year.
We're gonna crown the Tangenista of the year. It could be a man, it could be a lady, but whoever it is, they got to be the greatest. The Tangenista of the year. The Tangenista of the year. The Tangenista of the year.
Okay, just so you know, the Tangenista of the year, one of the prizes they will receive is their own song.
Ooh. Ouch.
Okay. So now there's been some confusion in some of the entries we've gotten for Tangenista of the year. Now you can nominate yourself, you can nominate someone else, and we've had both scenarios, but we just need a video, a simple video. It doesn't have to be extravagant, but it can be if you want it to be. It
Well,
just
let me
has to
ask
be
you a
60 seconds or less. And in the video, make the case for whoever you're nominating, and it can be yourself. Please nominate yourselves if you deserve it. But just make the pitch.
Can
in
I
video.
ask you a question? Can I
Yes.
question? Am I recognized?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I nominate someone. Do I have to do the video
Yes.
on behalf of that person, or does
Yes.
the person I nominate have to do the video?
No.
Or you have to do it. Okay.
You could you can nominate someone now.
There was some confusion on that, so I'm glad that we have put
Yeah.
that.
I don't know that Al can nominate someone. Aren't we the judges?
Well, then he'd have to recuse himself.
But then it might be 1-1.
I will have to go to court then and have a court order to overturn my recusal.
Yes. Well, there's a whole process for the selection of the Tangenista. And remember, it's an honor just to be nominated.
Yes, that's right.
And you can experience that honor by nominating yourself.
That's exactly right.
You can nominate yourself. It's welcome. Like, why you should be Tangenista of the year, but you can also, like, if you're in the chat and you know somebody and you say, wow, this person really, make the nomination. And the video, be creative. Be creative, folks.
Can the mods be Tangenista of the Year?
Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
We're
Probably
gonna have
not.
a meeting of the rules committee, I think. After this broadcast.
They can't be. They can't be because there would be the appearance of impropriety.
And in New Jersey, that's the big no-no. Doesn't
Right.
matter. It doesn't have to be in. There has to be. You don't have to demonstrate impropriety. Just the appearance.
Okay. So speaking of Jersey, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
When
Who
we
else
launch
got-
the new year, one of the first big trials of 2026 will be in New Jersey, close to you, Jonesy.
Is it the guy who allegedly set his family's mansion on fire, who was in business with his brother?
Yes, the Canaro brothers trial.
Took a
One
long
Canaro
time.
accused of taking out his brother and his brother's family, setting his sprawling Colts Neck mansion on fire, then setting his own home on fire as a ruse.
Right.
It was
Yes.
a ruse.
It's like something you see on the Looney Tunes. You know, they'll never figure this out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be some case. Let me tell you, it's intense. We covered it the other night on Vinnie Politan Investigates, and so right out of the gates, we've got two big trials. One down here in Georgia, the other one up in Jersey. So,
By the way, I was on that show with Vinny talking about this New Jersey case.
oh, you were. Oh, that's right, you were. Yeah, that's right. Al was on.
Well,
I forgot.
the
Al made a rare 9 p.m. appearance.
That's correct.
Ooh.
A rare Friday 9 p.m.
Yeah.
hearings.
how
Yeah.
did you keep him sober on Friday at 9 p.m.?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't
So,
easy.
we're having the meeting. It's in New Jersey, and folks say, "Well, why don't we get Al?" I said, "He's probably going to be at like a Cure concert or something, or Howard Jones. I don't know. I don't know who's performing tonight, but they were able to track him down, and he was
Luckily,
only half in the bag."
Luckily, those bands go on at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. So I was able to do the show and get to the club.
Oh.
I was never really a big Howard Jones fan, but I did love The Cure.
I've grown to appreciate, like, I wasn't a big Howard Jones fan because I saw the music I would hear at the nightclub as being more legit than some of the stuff I'd see on MTV. But in retrospect, that stuff is also great. It's just that I was too hip for school at the time. Still better than so much other music.
Look at this.
Friday night show, by the
TV
way.
is excited. She loves Howard Jones.
Oh, I'm sorry. But Friday night show was the Dead Milkmen.
They just announced that he was going to be Howard Jones is going to be on one of the late shows this week. So you might want to check that out. I believe it was Kimmel. So you saw the Dead Milkmen?
So the Dead Milkmen. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't like Punk Rock Girl, but I really love a song that they did called "The Thing That Only Eats Hippies."
Yeah, every one of their songs is the Drinking Bleach is a great song that they do. They got a number of really, really good.
Well, I started at WFMU, freeform music station, in around '86, and bands like that and Camper Van Beethoven were the darlings of the left end of the dial.
Yeah. My college station too. They would play all that stuff until I took over the turntables on Sunday nights for my dance party. Sunday Night Fever with DJ Vinny.
Well, traditionally on Sunday nights in radio, that's when they take chances and let people do something different.
Yeah. Well,
So
our show was a little bit. We had a few more listeners than the other shows because they were hungry for what we were serving up.
Yeah.
It was the 80s. So Margaret Bobe, I thought it was Margaret Babe, but she probably is a babe, but Margaret Bobe. I saw that case. I grew up in Jersey. I had a lot of friends in Colts Neck, New Jersey. I grew up there. Yeah, that's where it all takes place. Now, Colts Neck is interesting, right, Jonesy?
Yeah.
Hasn't that town really transformed from a sleepy farm town to a town with sprawling estates?
Sprawling estates. Mr. Bruce Springsteen lives there. He used to have a place in Red Bank. When the kids got out of school, he got rid of that, and he simultaneously had a place in Colts Neck as well. But yeah, it was like horse country. Hence, I think maybe Colts Neck. I don't know, but yeah, it's sprawling mansions. Yeah,
this mansion was something. Like it was big. It
Well, I
was
believe
huge.
the mansion that was burnt down. I believe that was in Ocean Township, if I'm not mistaken. Which is
No. Ocean is where the defendant lived
That's
in
where the
his
brother lives.
modest home. When I say modest, if you looked at it now, it'd probably be like 1.5,
Yeah.
1.8 million,
yeah.
whatever.
From what I hear right now, it's like it's an empty lot.
Well, there's so two houses were set on fire.
Right.
The Ocean one is the defendant. That was the Ruse house. The
Yeah.
sprawling mansion, which is still an empty lot, is in Colts Neck. And that's the issue, right? So
That's the alleged jealousy. Yeah, it's like he was in
Right.
Colts Neck. They both had a business. Their business together, I believe, was based out of Asbury Park.
Yep. Oh, Al has disappeared for a moment. The judge must be calling. But what's interesting is with the Colts Neck, great place to live, but this is what we would call a red rum house, right? Like
Yeah.
4 people lost their lives in the house. The house doesn't exist anymore. But if you're going to lay down that kind of money to build a mansion, which is what you would build there, you wouldn't build it on that land. It's just a bad karma.
Well, the land's probably sprawling enough that you could build it like in a different spot on the land. And
But still, this is the way the conversation goes, Jonesy, right?
the land is so valuable, somebody will.
It's got to be for a really good price, because I'll tell you how this plays. If you have that much money where you're going to build, an $8 million mansion, a $10 million mansion, and you have your choice of properties, you're going to pick the one where 4 people lost their lives, or the property where 4 people didn't lose their lives. Are you going to save a few $100,000 on the land and put it on a spot with that level of karma? What do you think your wife would do when she found out that you chinced on the land for a couple $100,000 for a $10 million home, and we built our land on property where 4 people were brutally taken? I just don't think I think it's got to go commercial or be like a farm for horses or something, because I don't think anyone, like, if you're spending that kind of money, you just spend a couple extra $100,000 and build it somewhere else, right?
Well,
Now, if you're building your mansion,
Yes.
and you're building a $10 million home,
Yes.
right? And the land is going to be either $1 million or $700,000 or 1.5 million or $1 million. You're not going to chintz and put it on property where you had this mass carnage, and your wife would be like, no, we're not building the house there. I'm not raising my kids. No. There were 2 children that were taken here. This is just bad.
The interesting thing is, in New Jersey, you do not have to reveal that.
Buyer beware, right?
Right. The real estate agent does not have to reveal the fact that there was a horrific murder at this at this place. You do not have to reveal that information. You'd have to do your due diligence on it. But you're right. If you're going to build, but the thing is this, Vin, that address is so prestigious.
Yeah.
That you're going to grab it. I mean, to be in the same
No
town,
way, Al. No way.
in the same town as Springsteen, to be in the same town as
Right. But if you have that much money, you're not going to like the red rum homes that get sold and people live in are people who can, like, okay, I think I can afford this house, right? And it's marked down from 400,000 to 200,000, and for that person, it's a difference maker. But when you're dealing in those numbers, the difference is so minuscule. Even if you got it for free, what are you saving? You're saving $1 million on a $10 million home, and you're gonna raise your family where this family was wiped out? No way. You're just gonna pick another lot.
I don't know. I mean,
There's no way.
I agree with Jonesy that you can move it to some other place. It's not like they're buried on the property. So I mean, even though there are bad
try
vibes,
explaining that to your wife when you're deciding where we're going to build a house.
The Amityville horror situation, I could see where you've got to make a point on that.
Yes,
and
I
they
would
bought that house
build
cheaper.
it
They
there.
bought that house cheaper from the DeFeos because of the fact that the family had been red rummed in there. So yeah,
But if I'm building them, because you're building a literal mansion, not like a McMansion. No, this is like sprawling, huge mansion, prestigious town. Everyone's going to drive by and say, "Oh yeah, that's where the the Canaro thing went down.
Yeah,
By
but
the
you know
way,
what?
should we put it on the tour for the Tangent Festival?
Well, if you do, you can just drop me off. Plan it at the end of the day, and you can drop me off or walk home.
that I don't know if we'd put that one. Well, I was thinking that
Depends how big this trial gets.
it does depend on how big the and I'm sure I'm going to be used quite often that week that the trial starts in that
The
but
week. It's going to be a
it's
6-week
6 to
trial.
7 weeks. I know easily. Jury selection alone is going to take quite some time. But they got a good judge that's handling it. He's the assignment judge in the county, and he's very, very bright. Former first assistant prosecutor, certainly knows his stuff. It's going to be very interesting to watch. You got good trial attorneys on there. I like the defense motions. I don't necessarily agree with them, but I definitely like their fighting style is very, very good. They're going in. They've got solid arguments that they've been bringing. It's going to be a fascinating trial to watch. Anytime you have a situation like this, and we brought this up on the Friday show. It's like, who else but your brother would you go out at 3 a.m. if they show up at your front doorstep? And
Right.
that's one of the problems on this. Them turning off the DVR and his.
Well, the problem is that he did it. Like,
Is the trial allegedly? Is the trial in Monmouth County?
yeah.
Yes.
So it's freehold, I assume.
Yes. And
It's a
right there-
Federici pizza.
and
Yeah.
right and also right
Now,
near
there's 2 Federicis. You got to be sure to go to the right one. I went to the wrong one last time.
the battle of Monmouth Courthouse is right down the road from the courthouse there. It's a very, very, very historic area.
Yeah, lots of those historic plaques at the side of the road.
Yes. It's a
Oh,
wonderful.
look at this. Look at this, guys. Alba 50 is going to do a video for Tangenista of the Year. Fantastic.
Oh,
All right.
boy.
Get him in. It's going to be quite an honor. And obviously, oh, wait, I'm trying to find Jonesy. Where'd he go? There he is. Jonesy was hiding. We're playing hide and seek. So this is going to be a huge night. Once again, just want to remind everyone, you got to remind them, this is big. And the count, we are 11 days away. 11 days away.
A lot of prep, people.
There's a lot of preparation and a lot of preparation H for this one. Getting all the pieces together.
You may need it because you'll be sitting down for a long time.
Indeed. And don't forget, you have to bring your festive drink glasses.
Yes. Well, I'm already all.
I don't think you have to tell Al that.
No.
Yeah. But it should be festive. It should be festive. All right. I think we're good. I got to get ready, folks. Oh, wait. Oh, we did have to remind you of one other thing.
What?
I almost forgot.
Well, wait a minute.
A lot of some of the prizes will be brought to you by the Vinnie Originale True Crime Merch Shop.
And a hoodie, a beach towel and a mug. A new design from Vinny is better than a drug. True crime merch, he did it. True crime merch, mark the exhibit. True crime merch, we hate Casey. True crime merch from Vinny Originale.
So many amazing items that we've got. You got the tangent items, the Tangenista items. Allegedly, person of interest, Viva, True Crime merch, available at the True Crime Merch Shop. And there will also be some of the prizes that will be divvied up. So it's going to be quite a night. It's really an extravaganza, like in the true meaning of extravaganza. It's not an exaggeration. This is the biggest show of the year every year, and it'll be fun, hijinks, and lots of surprises.
Surprise.
Yes, I've even got some surprises in the works for you two guys that you don't know about. Things, yeah, I let you know about some things, but not everything.
Well, I got to tell you, last year you blew my mind when you actually had photographs or actually video of Santa coming down my street from my childhood. That was that was, but and Vin, the theme this year is what our worst Christmas memory. What? Is that the theme? That
Well,
we
yeah,
were
we were gonna highlight some of the worst Christmas memories, but the rest of the show will be upbeat.
Yes.
You know, we had the meaning for the show. Al was coming up with a lot of like sort of a negative twist on the holidays. We were trying to
It's
figure
not
it
a
out.
negative twist. You know what? It's
I'm in.
realism. It's reality. Real. A T.
Real.
A T.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
all about negative holidays.
You like the
There you
negative
go.
holidays.
No, I just can't get out of it.
Oh,
But on that night, I bet that you'll both lift my spirits.
all right. To give you a little taste, let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. It's from last year's show. Where is it? Al's Hometown Christmas.
Christmas time. In the wood. Anglewood Cliffs, to be exact. And I'm making a right-hand turn at the intersection of Wunsch and Lynn.
By the way, listening to your voice, do you know who his voice sounds just like, Jonesy?
I don't, but I noticed that it's very dramatic. It's good.
Scott Baio.
Really?
You know, just like Scott Baio. If I close my eyes, we're gonna do a test. We're gonna play Al talking and Scott Baio on a future episode.
Really?
What was
You wanna know
Scott
which one?
Baio's catchphrase on
Wah, wah, wah.
wah 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 wah?
Well, wait a
let's
minute. And also, there is a connection between myself and
Yeah,
Scott.
I know, but
Baio.
let's finish watching the video. Let's watch the video for a second.
But my sister
Wunsch
was in,
way.
Your sister, what?
my sister was in an ABC after-school special with Scott Baio,
I used to love those.
which dealt with the dangers of drugs, and that Scott Baio was using drugs on the swimming team because we all know that all swimmers were using heavy drugs, and so that was a ABC after-school special on drugs. Scott Baio, my sister was in that show with him.
Oh, okay. It's all one small world.
There's only one way, and that's the Wunsch way.
So this is where I used to live. Now, I used to live on this property. I didn't live in that house. The house I had was a ranch. Now, Santa would come down this street. Because we were the only house in the North End that celebrated Christmas, and also the only house in the North End with a fireman. My father was a volunteer fireman. Santa would stop here, and all the kids would come running. And Santa would get off the fire truck, and he would go into my house, okay? And he'd ask the kids to wait outside, and that he would be out soon. And they proceed to go into my house and get drunk.
Santa was in the truck there. I find everything. I'm telling you.
You did. Yeah, that was remarkable. That blew my mind that day. Absolutely.
So again, it's things like this that you can expect at the extravaganza, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be quite the show. Sunday night, the 21st, 7 to 10. Everybody will be there. And of course, we expect April Diaz to be there.
Thank you, April Diaz. Have a great day today. Thank you, April Diaz. We appreciate everything you say. We all know she's a great fan, and we know the kind words she has. We always love to hear from you. Thank you, April Diaz.
April Diaz, as always, wishing everyone a happy rest of your day. Happy rest of your day, April Diaz. Thank you so much. April Diaz in the house. All right, let me get back. There we go. All right, gentlemen, it's about that time. Fortunately or unfortunately, because I've got a big meeting coming up. Got a lot of work to do. Al's got to get to court.
Not today.
Not today. Okay. All right. So, Al, tell us where folks can find where they can find you.
Okay, well, the reason why we're having the show today is because I will be down in Baltimore to take the air out of Pete Alonso's tires, and I will be at the Army-Navy game this weekend. The Army-Navy game festivities start Thursday. I will be down there from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, I'll be back on with Vinny for a couple of our last shows before the holiday on Court TV, and from 8 to 9 on Closing Arguments. And so if you're at the Army-Navy game, look me up. I'll be there, tailgating in the parking lot, and then at the game, go Army, and hasta la vista, Los Tanginistas.
Jonesy, where can folks find the radio legend?
I will be DJing live this Saturday in Jersey City, New Jersey at White Eagle Hall. It is a sumo wrestling event, so I'm a sports DJ. Doors at 6. I warm up the crowd till 7, and then afterwards the wrestling event sumo starts, and I'm that guy in the sky who's trying to pump you up. So come on out and get pumped up.
And these are full-sized sumo wrestlers?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, man. These guys are the real deal. And being a pro wrestling fan, when I first got into this, I've done like arenas up and down the New York, New Jersey area. With this event, when I first started, I was a pro wrestling fan. I was like, yeah, sumo. That's kind of dull, right? It's really exciting.
Yeah. These guys they're tremendous athletes, but they're huge.
Oh yeah,
so strong. All right, folks, you can find me every night 8 to 10 on Court TV. 8 to 9, it's Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan. 9 to 10, Vinnie Politan investigates, a deep dive into one story. 8 o'clock, we're taking a look at the big stories of the day, all the breaking news from the world of true crime. That's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the great Mod Squad. Thank you for the super chats, and thank you for the great conversation. Please like, subscribe, share, follow. Say goodnight, Jonesy.
Good night, Jonesy.
Somebody say podcast, podcast. Tangent, tangent. Podcast, podcast. This is the Tangent Podcast. Good night, everyone. Good night. Thank you for all your support. We are the Tangent True Crime Podcast. We'll see all of you in